I'm going to talk about creativity as it pertains to some of the programs that we offer. And as you said, we have different programs available. We have different certifications as well. So we offer diplomas as well as degrees and postgrads. So first, let me tell you a little bit about where we are located. We are in the Greater Toronto area, and most of our creative programs are offered in Oakville in the Trafalgar campus, which is just about 30 kilometers from Toronto on the west side. Now, we do have some creative programs available in our Mississauga campus. So, for example, architectural, technology, and technician, as well as visual and creative arts, merchandising arts. Those are offered in our Mississauga campus. But most of the bachelors in creativity, such as film and television, photography, animation, illustration, we have bachelors of industrial design, ceramics, glass blowing, textile design. So there's a lot of these creative bachelor programs. Those are offered in our Oakville campus. So what's good about being outside of the metropolitan Toronto area is that it's a little quieter, it's smaller communities, but also rent is a lot cheaper than if you were in downtown Toronto. So that's a good sign. I don't know if you know the difference between college and university, but we offer degree programs just like a university. So we're a polytechnic, and what that means basically is kind of like we're a hybrid. We're both a community college and a university, 2 in 1. So we're able to offer 2 and 3 year diplomas, but we're also able to offer 4-year honors bachelor degrees. So we have the full range of accreditation that you can choose. And also we're more hands-on technical training. We don't teach you theory. So when you come in and learn at Sheridan, you will be working with your hands. You will be working with software, with machines, with robots. You're going to be doing things while you're learning. You're going to be sometimes doing an internship or a co-op. So you're going to be working for a real employer during your learning process. And this is how creativity comes to mind as well, because we don't teach you in a traditional way with learning by memory and exams. We teach you by doing. So you will be getting your hands dirty, or what we call experiential technical learning from day one. So that's really important. And another thing that's important is that it is cheaper than going to a standard university if you come to Sheridan. It's also, the majority of our programs have some kind of work component where you're able to graduate not only with your diploma or your accreditation, but also with work experience in your field. So if you study photography or if you study product design, we have a postgrad in digital product design. For example, if you're interested in advertising, marketing, and producing products, we have all of that. You can study a minimum of 2 years. So I don't know if some of you might be interested. In Canada, if you study 2 years, could be 3, could be 4, but minimum 2, and you graduate, the government gives you a 3-year postgraduate work permit that allows you, after you work a year, to apply for express entry, and which is basically permanent residency. So by studying 2 years in a diploma, or 3 years in an advanced diploma, or 4 years in a degree, if you're interested in living in Canada forever, this will open the door for you to be able to apply to permanent residency. Also, another great thing about studying in public colleges is that you're able to work and study the entire time. So while you're studying those 2, 3, or 4 years, you can also work part-time up to 20 hours per week, and you can work full-time during your internship or co-op. So this is all really good benefits the government gives you while you're studying at Sheridan. Sheridan is a very large college, okay? We're, as I said, a polytechnic. We have 25,000 full-time students, of which 8,700 are international students. And Ukrainians, I have about 45. So not very many, considering the total number of international students. So we are always looking to bring in more Ukrainian students. And we're famous for the arts. We are probably the most important art school in Canada. We're also ranked top 5 in the world for certain programs like animation, illustration, and game design. We are ranked one of the top 5 schools in the world. So that is what we're famous for. But we also have lots of other options that are creative options, such as I said, advertising, industrial design, digital product design. We have merchandising and visual arts. We have ceramics, Bachelor of Arts with a focus on ceramics, or glass blowing, or industrial furniture design, textile design. So there are just so many options. But even if you choose an option that's not directly related to the arts, creativity lives at Sheridan in every single program. So even if you were to take business, or if you were to take, I don't know, health sciences, we have embedded creativity into each and every one of our programs, because creativity is the one thing that employers are really focusing on right now when they're looking for employees. It is the one thing that automation cannot do. So a robot is not yet able to be creative. Only human beings are able to be creative. So we look at creativity in our problem solving, in our thinking, in the way that we come up with solutions, with projects, with working together, in everything that we do, and in every single program, you will find an element of creativity. But of course, in our arts program, or anything related to the arts, that's going to be a focus. Another thing that's important to note is that in Canada, the arts pay good money in jobs. So very often I find that Ukrainian students want to study business because they think that's the only way to make money is to study business. And they don't realize that in Canada, what pays the least actually at the beginning for year 1 after graduation usually is hospitality and business and services. What pays more is anything that's more technical. So for example, if you study digital product design or industrial design, or if you study graphic design, or if you study anything that is creative, your salary, your first year salary is usually going to be twice as high. There's going to be more opportunities to find a good job if you're graduated from a creative career than a generalized career. Everybody can study business, but not everybody is artistically inclined and can study something creative. So if you are creative, you have an advantage, and you're likely to be more successful and earn more money in Canada than if you're not creative. So that's something to keep in mind, because in certain parts of the world, there's this idea of the starving artist, right? That you're not going to find a job if you're an artist. Well, in Canada, if you're an artist, there are so many jobs you can go into. You can go into advertising, you can go into film, television, You can go into product design. You can go into all kinds of things that jobs are there, especially now in our digital age, with everything being visual and being video. And so the more creative you are, the more opportunities you will have for jobs. And this is important, especially now, because given what's happening now in the world with the coronavirus, where everywhere in the world we're headed towards a recession. So jobs will be hard to come by everywhere, including Canada. Canada, up until now, was enjoying a really good labor market. So it was very easy for students to find a job. But I think at least for the next year or so, that might become a little bit more difficult given what's happened around the world. But if you're creative, your chances are always going to be better. So that's something that you need to keep in mind. Now, we have 3 campuses. And as I said, the creative programs are in our Mississauga and Oakville campus. Where you will study will depend on the program that you choose. So you don't have a choice of campus. You decide what you're going to study, and that will determine the campus that you'll be studying at. So let's look at some of these creative programs. So we have musical theater, we have media, we have journalism, new media. So if you're interested in everything like writing for blogs and digital advertising, social media, I mean, all these things are very creative avenues that you can choose to study at Sheridan. We have television, so technical direction for theater. We have musical theater where you can perform. We have all of the production of television, so television and film production. And all of these programs have some kind of internship. So when you graduate, you will graduate with experience. And in Canada, it is work experience that opens doors, much more so than the highest level of education that you might have. So that work experience that you will have in your program is going to give you that advantage. And very often that's the same companies that offer you that internship are the companies that eventually will end up hiring you. So you can see, if you go into our website, I'm going to just leave the presentation because I want to take you to our website for a minute. So if we go to the Sheridan website, here you can find your program, and this is where you will find details. So let's say, for example, you were interested in digital product design. So you can look it up, and this will show you more information about this program. And it will tell you it's a graduate certificate, it's a 1-year program, where it is available and located. But it will also give you the list of courses. So you'll be able to see, well, what are you going to be learning about? You know, what is this program all about? And if you wanted to see the details, you actually have the code of the program, and you can look in the course details. It will give you the pensum of that program, so the curriculum. So you can have as much information as you want. Also, it tells you the career opportunities. So what kind of jobs are you going to have once you graduate from digital product design? Well, you might work as a design researcher or a strategist or a product designer or a UX designer or a design consultant. So many options. If you were, for example, interested in interior decorating or, so if we put in interior, so we have an interior design and interior decorating program. If you're interested in the Bachelor of Interior Design, and again, you have 2 and 3D computer software, AutoCAD, SketchUp, Revit, and other design software that you'll be using. Here, again, you will have the list of courses for all 4 years of study, and you have the codes if you want to see the curriculum. Here you have the career opportunity. So what's happening after you graduate? Well, what are you going to be working as? So these are all where you will find the information. And again, if you go to overview here as well, you can find the costs. So very often students want to know, well, what does this cost? So if I wanted to do a Bachelor of Interior Design, as an international student, you go to international fees, and this gives you the cost per year in Canadian dollars. So that's going to be 1 year. And in Canada, you're going to study 8 months. So the year has 12 months, right? But in Canada, you study 8, and it leaves you 4 months free to work full-time. So during the 8 months you're studying, you can study and work up to 20 hours per week. And during the 4 months that you're off, you can work full-time. So this cost is the cost of the 8 months, the first 8 months of study. So this is a 4-year program, so the cost of the total program would be that times 4. But there are shorter courses. So let's say, for example, that you were interested in interior design, interior decorating, for example. Interior decorating is a 2-year diploma. So we can put here interior decorating. And again, you find the information here. And this is a 2-year diploma that's offered at the Hazel McCallion campus. And if you wanted to know how much does that cost, you can go to fees, international students, and here you find the cost. And that would be the cost in Canadian dollars, and it'd be 2 years, okay?
No, 2 years, it will be 2 years.
Yes, 2 years. So
and,
each year it would cost...
Let me change the number for American dollars, you know, because sometimes we don't recognize how much it is.
18,000 Canadian dollars is about 14,000 American dollars, approximately. You'd have to, you could go into an exchange, but certainly the Canadian dollar is at a historic low, which is good. It's probably the lowest it has been in like 30 years. So that makes it a little bit easier, but I'm sure most currencies have devaluated around the world. So I'm not sure what the hryvnia is at, but I imagine that it's probably a little weaker than it used to be a couple of months ago. Same with the Canadian dollar. So that's the good news, is that even though maybe the hryvnia is down, so is the Canadian dollar against the US dollar. So maybe it's not as expensive as you thought. And yes, keep in mind, these are Canadian dollars. So, you know, this is about 40,500 US dollars that you're looking at.
You know, for now it can be 12,300 US.
Really? Yes. That's great. Yes. Yeah, the Canadian dollar is really low right now. So it's a really good time to come to study in Canada because it's a bargain. So yeah, there you go. I didn't know it was that low. I need to look at what's going on. So, so now you know.
Admissions, Gabriela, can you tell us about, do you have some additional requirements specifically for creative program?
Yes. All of our creative programs have portfolios. So if you go to admission requirements, you will see it says a portfolio. And this one it may be. So if you have already some experience, you might not need for this one. But let's look at another one. So let's say, for example, we look at industrial design. So industrial design, for example, and we go to admission requirements. You will see here a portfolio. And here is the portfolio requirements. So you will see that this portfolio requirements is good for all of the Bachelor of Craft and Design. And then you can use it to focus on ceramics, furniture, glass, industrial design, or textiles. But it will always have a portfolio requirement. Every single artistic program at Sheridan has a portfolio requirement. If you were interested in, let's say, animation, for example, maybe Honors Bachelor of Animation, again, we can go to admission requirements, portfolio, and it will open up the portfolio requirements. So this is really important because we weigh in the portfolio above and beyond your grades. So your grades are important, but your portfolio scores are more important than your grades. So every single art program will have some kind of portfolio.
This is also what we was talking yesterday with kids, that how you creative much more important than your academic success. You will learn everything in college, but to have an idea and change the worlds, you're supposed to be very creative, looking after box.
I want to talk about this program called Art Fundamentals, because sometimes students, in order to get into our creative programs, you're going to need to have taken a visual art in your last year of high school. And sometimes students in Ukraine don't have that in their high schools. So they don't qualify to take our programs because they're missing the academic requirement to enter. So, or maybe they don't have knowledge on how to put a portfolio together, or they don't feel confident to put a portfolio together. So one of the things that you can do is you can come into this program, which is 8 months long, and it's called Art Fundamentals. And we teach you life drawing, painting, sculpture, two-dimensional design, technical drawing, so that you are in a better position to then apply to your program of choice. So this is called Art Fundamentals, but it's a training program that prepares you to apply for other programs. So if, for example, you do Art Fundamentals first, then your chances of being accepted to a competitive program like animation or illustration or game design are better than if you apply directly from high school. It's very hard to get into some of our programs at Sheridan. So animation, illustration, and game design are incredibly competitive programs at Sheridan, and only the very best portfolios get in. So many students are disappointed because almost 90% of the students don't get into those programs. So in order to have a better chance, then doing Art Fundamentals first gives you or takes you from that 5 to 10% to maybe a 50% chance. It will not guarantee you that you will get in, but by providing you with the skills necessary to make a better presentation and portfolio, you have better chances of getting in. So many students that want to enter our creative programs start off with Art Fundamentals, or if they're starting, for example, in film and television, we have a Bachelor of Film and Television, so we can take a look at that. Film. So we have Film and Television Bachelor. So again, this will require you to submit a portfolio where you have to film something with your phone, actually. You don't need a professional camera, but we do want to see what kind of natural talent you have. So you will see that there is a portfolio requirement for film and television. So let's say again that you don't feel confident and you want to do some preparation. One of the things you could consider is doing media fundamentals. So we have media fundamentals, which is like Art Fundamentals, that prepares you in web and computer technology, sound and camera, television and film production, media history, communication and theory, visual design, and radio. So then by doing those 8 months, you're better prepared to apply for the Bachelor of Film and Television, or to decide what area of media you're really interested in. Because sometimes, you know, you just graduated high school and you don't know. Maybe you want to go into television, but maybe you want to go into radio, or maybe you want to be more into visual design and you don't really know. So this allows you also to explore the possibilities before you commit to a 4 or 5 year, career for your future. So some of these fundamental preparation programs are good to let you upscale your skills, but also to explore, to make sure that you understand what you want to do. And these tend to be, cheaper as well than the actual programs. So if we go to the cost, for example, this is $18,000 as opposed to, for example, animation or theater, which is, $30,000. So something to keep in mind as well. So by doing art fundamentals or media fundamentals, you are exploring, upgrading your skills, and you're not spending a lot of money without being sure that that's what you want to do. So do we have questions?
Guys, do you have some questions? We was talking about creative career. What you would like to ask Gabriela? She's the best expert in that.
So, go ahead.
Vika, she is already have a good skills in painting. Are you thinking about some creative career which can connect to your skill?
I don't know.
But you have a beautiful possibility to ask Gabriela directly about any of creative programs.
Did you finish your high school? You finished high school already?
No, I'm on 9th grade.
Oh, okay. So you still have a few years to go.
Yes.
So, one of the things you can do is explore the programs that are there and the courses and see what you're interested in, and also plan to take a visual arts in your last year of school if you can. This is important so that you can qualify academically, and also do a lot of preparation on your art while you still have a few years left, because the portfolio will require very strong output. And also work on your English language skills, because communication is really important. So you might consider doing an English language course. There's a lot of courses now being offered virtually, and Irina can offer some information about doing some virtual English learning, because all your grades as well, will be based on your ability to present your work verbally, not just visually, and in written format. So your writing skills and your presentation skills have to be very good in English. So you want to make sure that you are at a B2 level, but preferably at a C1 level in English. So a pathway program through one of our partner schools, would be a good idea to do. And Irina can help you navigate that aspect of preparation. So you can do a lot while you're still in school. You can prepare your art, your artistic side, and you can prepare your linguistic side.
Okay, and one question. If I want to study, I need to have B2, yes, level of English?
Minimum, depending on what you apply for. So we accept IELTS academic. For a diploma, we require overall 6 with no band below 5.5. And for a degree, we require 6.5 with no band below 6, so slightly higher. But I recommend always that you aim to have an overall 6.5 and, you know, in every band 6, irrespective of where you go. Because again, your grades will be determined by your presentation skills, both written and oral, as well as your artistic skills. So, you know, maybe your work is very good, but if you can't present it, you're not going to get top grades because your English is lacking. So working on your English language skills is really important.
Now I have level B1 plus, so I need some.
But you have time, so that's where Irina can help you as well. She can make suggestions on how to improve your English so that you're ready for Sheridan. Other questions?
No.
Okay. Just to let you know, we have residences on campus, which are like small apartments where you can live. So you don't have to go anywhere. You can stay right at the Trafalgar residence. It's connected to the buildings. You don't even have to go outside. It's quite modern, very nice. You have your own private room and you share a kitchen and a bathroom with one other student. The residence also has communal kitchens and study rooms, game rooms, theaters, gyms. I mean, it's really a great place. And there's all kinds of activities and things you can do. It's like a small city. We have a government, a student government that has over 50 clubs and will take you on excursions and activities if you want to. You can join the gym, you can join a varsity team, an intramural team for sports, keep in shape. There's tons of things to do. And this is to give you an idea of the cost. Again, these are Canadian dollars, which, as we have already talked about, is at a historic low. So you can look at these prices and then compare them to US dollars if that makes it easier for you. But these are Canadian dollars. And this gives you an idea of the type of costs that you will be paying. So the residence, for example, in Trafalgar costs about 7,900 Canadian dollars for the academic year, and that's probably less than $5,000 US. I don't know, Irina, can you do the calculation for me and tell me?
Yes. 5,300.
There you go, $5,300 for the year US, or 7,900 Canadian. So as you can see, that's a very reasonable cost for accommodation on campus, and it's very nice accommodation. So there's lots of options there. And, you know, in terms of our official representative in Ukraine, you're looking at her. It's Irina and her team at ICEA, and that's the contact for you to make all your plans. They will help you to apply to Sheridan, but also with your study permit and, you know, information about qualifying your English, your portfolio, your travel plans, anything you need to know, they're there to help you. And I'm here when you arrive to help you on the way in. Just to let you know, is anybody thinking of coming this September?
Not yet, not for this September.
Okay. Well, then, you know, I don't think we need to worry too much about what might be in the future. For this September, of course, we're not certain whether international students would have to do a mandatory quarantine if they were coming into Canada. We're hoping that that will all be over by then, but we don't know. But if you're thinking about the future, so 2021, hopefully by then this will all be over. So we will return back to normal, and you don't have to worry about any of those things. What would you like to add, Irina?
You know, nothing. For me, Sheridan, this is a places for creativity, specifically your logo, just that presented your college in the best way. Why we choose the Sheridan for presentation, just because of the uniqueness program which you have. Specifically animation now, I even would like to say that this is not top 5, in top 1 in Canada animation program.
Yeah, we are ranked as one of the best around the world, definitely in Canada. But again, it's very difficult to get straight into animation. So doing our fundamentals is a good idea if you want to get into animation, or even visual and creative arts. So we do have a 2-year diploma option. So one of the things you could consider if you're thinking about animation is doing 2 years of visual and creative arts, graduate, work a year, apply to immigrate, and then apply to animation as a Canadian student. And the reason for that is it'll be a lot cheaper because the government subsidizes your studies if you're Canadian, not if you're international. So doing visual and creative arts could be a good avenue. So I'm going to show you that program really quickly because I think it's a really good option for students. So if you do, so you have visual and creative arts and visual merchandising arts. Both of them are really good, but this one is a 2-year diploma that qualifies you for the 3-year postgraduate work permit. So you will learn things, like building a body of work, artistic presentation. You will see the courses here. So you'll do 2 and 3D design, color theory, or figure drawing, design drawing, painting. So all of these things also prepare you for animation, but allow you, as I said, are not as expensive. So if you go here, you see that the cost of this course is less than 18,000 Canadian dollars, and it's 2 years. If you go directly into animation as an international student, let's look at it because I think it's important. So if you go to the Bachelor of Animation and we go to the cost for international students, you see it's very expensive in comparison. So it's almost $29,000 for next year, which is 40 or 50% more than the cost of visual and creative arts. So, but if you look at the cost for domestic students, so let's say you come back as a domestic student, the cost is less than $10,000. So again, the reason for this is not that we're being mean to international students, is because in the case of Canadian students, the government gives us money. But in the case of international students, the government doesn't give us any money. So for us, it's the same whether someone's Canadian or international, but the international students have to pay the full fee. So that's why. Does that make sense?
Yes, because Canadians pay taxes in this country. This is why Canadian kids, of course, they have some subsidized from the government. And we are lucky we have our students this year for the game design in Sheridan, Lev Kazminski, and he enjoyed there so much. He now still in Canada. We will have interview with him in next week. He will share with us his experience in Sheridan. He is very lucky, and he even not 18, but he already working for the company.
Wonderful. Yeah, I mean, being a Sheridan grad has a huge advantage in the marketplace because anyone with jobs, with creative jobs, looks for Sheridan graduates. They know that we graduate the best in the industry, so that will give you an advantage for sure. In certain fields, like for example, animation, illustration, game design, the companies come in February and pre-offer students jobs for when they graduate. So all the big companies, Illumination, Disney, I don't even know, they don't come to mind right now, but all the animation companies come to Sheridan in February and interview our students who are graduating and offer them jobs even before they graduate. So it's, you know, if you graduate Sheridan in the creative fields, your future is pretty much set. I mean, if you do well and you have good grades and you produce a good body of work, you know, you will have a great job and a great future, no problem.
Of course. Okay, guys, first of all, be good in your school, be creative, learn English, and start to think about the spheres where you would like to realize your creativity. And Sheridan give us a lot of opportunities. Do you have some questions? Guys? Okay. Gabriela, thank you very much. Thank you very much. As always, it was very, very nice to be with you.
Thank you for inviting me. An honor for me, and to the students who are with us today. Thank you for your time, and I hope to see you on campus. Take care. Bye, everybody.
Thank you. Enjoy the rest of your day. Bye.
Bye.